You are listening to the Break Time Tech Talks podcast, a bite-sized tech podcast for busy developers, where we'll briefly cover technical topics, news snippets, and more in short time blocks. I'm your host, Jennifer Reif, an avid developer and problem solver with special interest in data, learning, and all things technology. I just had my first sip of coffee for the morning, and I feel alive. Do you ever feel like some people have all the luck, whether you're suffering from imposter syndrome, which, by the way, we all do, or feeling like you just can't get ahead? Sometimes we need to see things in a new light to break through the barrier or overcome the obstacle. Plus, I'll also look at a new-ish tool from Neo4j called the LLM Graph Builder. I'll give a quick intro on it, plus what I'm doing with it and how it's going. So you might have heard the saying, work smarter, not harder. I've always loved that saying, but I came across a little bit of a nugget of information that kind of gave this new meaning. So the story that I came across, it's about a person playing tennis with a friend, and the friend always won for lots of years. One time the person said something about it, and the friend said that they deflect with one specific maneuver that has a higher chance of success and forces the other player to most likely respond with a maneuver with a low chance of success. So in other words, I took this as, don't assume trying harder or wanting it more can always make it happen. This, in high stakes situations, you want to try to use math and pick the higher percentage shots in order to win with the best likelihood chances of coming out ahead, right? So it's this idea of really play smarter, not harder. Understand the game, understand what you're trying to achieve, understand what works better in certain situations, and try to play those high percentage wins. This also relates to a video game that I played when I was a kid called Fire Emblem. It was a Game Boy Advance game, and my sisters and I all loved it. But it was a strategy game where you had kind of medieval battles, and you would kind of walk into a map, with a group of your friends or whatever. And then you would come across these bad guys, and you would engage one-on-one. So individual people you would send out to battle individual bad guys, and then you would pick, certain shots or whatever to come out ahead and win those fights. And then of course you would have an overall win or lose the battle, right? The goal was to maximize the results with minimal damage, of course, right? You didn't want to lose certain characters. You wanted to, you might have preferred certain characters over others, and so you wanted to keep them secure, or you had a mission to get one particular character that was holding an item or something through the map safely, and so on. So sometimes the bad guy didn't always play into your plan. Again, you kind of rolled the dice some and you took some risk, but you tried to play the highest odds. It's like, okay, here's my situation. If I play this person against this bad guy, I know I have the best chance of winning this battle. Why don't we do that more with work or even with life? I mean, we always hear play smarter, not harder. And I really love a quote from the Incredibles movie, which is an animated film about superheroes from Pixar. And one of the characters in there says, "Luck favors the prepared, darling." And I've always loved this as well, but this really stuck out to me with this particular story because we can apply this situation to life or to technology or to building our apps and services or presentations and demos. And it might seem that some people have all the luck or all the skill, but maybe it's just they know their game and their product or their maneuvers so well. They know the odds of each move and they play the high percentage shots. This obviously works the best if you have win or lose situations. And of course, sometimes risk is good and sometimes higher risk will get you more. So sometimes, playing the good enough, higher winning shots may not be enough for the game you're playing. So make sure this actually does apply to you. But that also means that you're going to need to research and experiment with the odds of certain things. If developers learn a particular concept successfully with a specific method, when it really comes down to it and you're trying to get somebody to learn something quickly or super successfully so you can send them on their way very quickly, use that. Use the method that you know works. And lots of other things too. When you go into meetings with important people, or when you take interviews, or when you stand up and give presentations, or I know for certain that I could probably be playing some higher win shots, and I don't necessarily take the time to think through those. So that was just kind of my overview and something that I really thought about this week. The other thing that I've been playing around with is the Neo4j LLM Graph Builder. This is a really cool tool. I just started playing around with it, but it allows you to drop documents, any type of document. So like PDFs, like document files, images, unstructured text, plus links for YouTube, Wikipedia, Amazon S3, so storage, and GCS. And then there's a few different settings and configuration that you can customize. So you can upload your own kind of interpreted graph model, if you will, or you can have it kind of guess the model from the PDFs or whatever document source you have. And then it will create the embeddings with a couple of different options. Right now, the only LLM models that are available are a couple of versions of OpenAI's and then a Gemini one, I believe. Hopefully they'll be adding some more models for creating embeddings here soon. But this is just a really nice to start out with, and I'm kind of playing around with that as well. So this tool will construct the knowledge graph. It'll import unstructured data into Neo4j, a graph database. You can visualize that knowledge graph. You can chat with it. You can explore it in our low-code near natural language visualization tool called Bloom. You could also integrate that knowledge graph with different applications, which is what I'm trying to do with it right now. I hope to be able to use this for some upcoming demos, but I'm still kind of playing around with it. The first time I tried to load a manual into it, it was a several hundred page manual. It got hung up, so it was a little bit sluggish, and that wasn't really evident at the beginning when I first started using it. So I talked to some people and tried to figure out, okay, what's going wrong or what am I doing wrong? And I divided the PDF into smaller PDFs and tried to load it again. That was much more successful. I think it does even more successfully if you can put a kind of framework model in there. So you can kind of set, okay, I want these types of entities and these relationships, and it will kind of upload the data into that model. I think it is a little bit more accurate if you do that. And so I'm still trying to play around with that. I'm working on a smaller manual right now that I'm putting into it, and I'm playing around with that. I'm going to try to build an app onto it and just see kind of what that looks like overall. But this is just kind of my introduction to it. So if you're curious about it, you check out the LLM Graph Builder. I'll include a link as well. For this episode, if you have a scenario where you really want to win, maybe think about which cards will give you the best chances and play those. I know I'll be doing the same, and I wish you every success on your adventures. And I will also keep you posted on progress with the Neo4j LLM Graph Builder and other tools and projects I'm working on in an upcoming episode. As always, thanks for listening and happy coding.